What is up, guys? KFC back, bringing us a new video today. We're going to be reviewing some attacks from the Lindores BR War. It was a perfect war for us. I did unfortunately miss it in our war recap series. And this is going to be a little bit of a different format. The channel has officially reached 100 subscribers. I think at the time of this recording, we are at 114 subscribers, so that is amazing. Clearly, we have some people that are watching the channel that are outside of the Goodfellas clan family. So I wanted to do something a little special, and so I got some help from the co-leaders of the Goodfellas to come up with a little Q&A. So think of it a little bit like a coffee and clash video that Jake does. So I got 6 questions here. I'm going to answer them. I'm going to have some attacks from this war kind of playing in the background. And go ahead, let's get started. So the first one comes from Graveland. His question was, "Are you a fan of Trigun?" Because he noticed the logo that is currently on my YouTube channel, and yes, indeed, I am a fan of Trigun, the anime. I haven't watched it in quite a long time. It was an anime that I watched when I was in high school. My favorite character from that show was a character named Legato Blue Summers, and that's where I got the name for the my second account. And for a long time, the account Blue Summers was in the clan, but no one knew that it was me. And so I was curious if anyone was going to pick up on that my line and kick info was Kavanaugh Legato and kind of put those two together. It never happened, but yes, I am a fan of Trigun. The next question comes from Doc King, and it's a Clash of Clans related question. He says, "What are you expecting from the next couple of Clash of Clan updates, and what do you hope, or where do you see the stage of the game and clan in 6 months?" So that's a really, really good question. I'll start with the first part of it. In terms of what I would expect to see from the next few updates, I definitely think that they're primarily going to be Town Hall 10 and 11 focused. I think that if you look at Town Hall 11 right now, even without gemming, you can basically max your Town Hall 11 as soon as you max your Warden. So as soon as you upgrade to Town Hall 11, you have a round of storages to do. The gold storage and elixir storage each goes up a level. That takes 7 days. The wizard towers each go up a level, and you get a new wizard tower. You get a new expo, and that can only go up to Town Hall 10 level. And then you get the Eagle Artillery, and that's really all you get. That's brand new at Town Hall 11. And so it just doesn't, there's no additional wall levels. There's only 2 things in the lab. There's only a witch level 3 and a minion level 7. So the lab itself can be done. And so over time, I'd say within the next year, I think that we're going to see almost every troop get a new level and be introduced at Town Hall 11. I do think that we will get Golem 6 now that, especially now that they've pumped up the Eagle Artillery to be anti-Golem. I don't see any reason why we can't have Golem 6 at Town Hall 11. I think we'll see Hog 6. I think we might see Valkyrie 5. And all those things will be Town Hall 11 exclusive. I think that in the next update, I am expecting 1 troop. I know that the kind of the current leak has said that we might be getting 2 new troops. But that would be very un-Supercell-like to kind of give us 2 at once, given kind of how long it's taken since the Lava Hounds come out. In terms of what I would expect the new troop to do, obviously it would go in the Dark Barrack. I don't think we're going to get any sort of elixir-based troop for a long time. But in terms of what the troop does, I think that it needs to do something that is going to combat the balance issue at Town Hall 10. And so there's lots of different things that you could kind of imagine. Maybe something like a support troop, sort of like the Grand Warden is at Town Hall 11. But there's got to be something that helps the balance of Town Hall 10. So maybe a troop that that is a ranged troop, and whenever it touches a defense, the defense is temporarily paralyzed or something for a second. So it's kind of like a mini free spell on a troop. So it's hard to say, but in terms of the next few updates, I definitely would expect to see a new troop in the next update. I would expect to see a ton of lab upgrades at Town Hall 11. And then I don't think Town Hall 9 is going to get anything new, or Town Hall 8. I think that the last thing that they gave Town Hall 7 was the third air defense. I thought that was a good addition to that metagame. So yeah, and then in terms of the second part of the question, where do I see the state of the game and the clan in 6 months? So I'll kind of address them one at a time. State of the game, I definitely think, especially after listening to the last podcast that Liquid did with Andrew, I'm not sure that there's a quick fix to the issue of modding. I think the quickest fix, actually, that I've heard was actually on the podcast that Doc King did with Liquid, where Doc King simply suggested, like, hey, why don't we make it so that wars are only, instead of getting 2 attacks in war, you get 1 attack in war. I thought that was a really, really interesting solution that I just have never even thought of. It's so simple, especially if they're going to be working on the algorithm and trying to make matchups more fair. Definitely giving only 1 attack to everybody would certainly kind of eliminate the modding issue. You could even run multiple kind of clan war formats. You can kind of maybe self-select in, so for people that want to do 2 attacks per war, they can select that option, and then people that want to do only 1 attack per war can select that option. So I can easily see the fair play community kind of instantly shifting over to that 1 attack only, and a lot of the modding community would stay in the 2 attacks as they need it. So that seems like a very, very easy fix. And then if you kind of make it so that you can only run wars with maybe like 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 people. That could be a very, very interesting way to kind of fix that problem. I'm not sure that Supercell has ever really shown kind of that level of initiative, though, to indicate that they might even consider something like that. So I just think that, unfortunately, if I had to kind of predict over the next 6 months, I think we're going to see Jake from One Hive leave the game. I think he's going to Town Hall 10 right now. And so kind of my bold prediction over the next 6 months is that by the time that we get to today is March, I think by the time September rolls around, Jake will no longer be providing YouTube content for One Hive. I think he will kind of shift over to Vainglory. I think we're already starting to see a little bit of it. I mean, clashing with Maddie, kind of saying that he's going to retire from Emphatic Elite is actually really big news to me, just in terms of what he's represented to the fair play community and Emphatic Elite in general. I think it just speaks volumes to kind of how long you think about it. Maddie has been at Town Hall 10 for less than a month or two, and he's kind of already said, like, hey, like I just can't do it. Thinks modding is too prevalent, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of that. And as Jake and Powerbang both transition into the Town Hall 10, I think it's just gonna keep growing as an issue. And I think that we'll definitely continue to see people kind of advocate for it to be removed. And I think that there are solutions out there that could easily kind of fix it. It just comes down to whether Supercell is going to do it or not. But what I do know is that Supercell will not let their game die without a fight, and so I think that the end of Supercell's run will be very easily seen when they start releasing too much content. That's usually the way that games die, especially as the game kind of becomes more saturated, and we had such a long layoff in between Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11. If all of a sudden at some point this next year we get Town Hall 12, that would be an indication to me that Supercell's kind of grasping at straws and just trying to grab kind of the final pieces of content for their game. I don't think that that's going to happen. I do think that the game has kind of taken a little bit of a slide for sure. I think every single time you see a YouTuber talk, you hear them talk about how we're anxiously waiting for the next update and let's kind of see. And I think this next update for sure is going to be a pretty big one. And I do think that we're going to get a new troop, and I think that's going to kind of calm some people just in terms of saying that the game is not progressing or not allowing them to progress. In terms of the clan, in terms of the Goodfellas within the next 6 months, I think that we're going to see, we'll probably end up seeing some turnover. We're in the Town Hall 10-9 bracket now, and I think the last time we were in it, I kind of submitted, I guess, a little bit to peer pressure. Certain people were like, oh, like we're not winning a lot. We're having to gem our heroes for wars that we know are going up against modding clans, or I think that was a struggle for a lot of people, and I had just enough people kind of say, hey, bring back the Town Hall 8s, that I just kind of listened. And this time I'm kind of being a little bit more firm with it, so no matter how many times that we go up against tough matchups week after week, I don't have any indication, or I don't have any kind of plans at this time to kind of supplement that problem by bringing the Town Hall 8s, or removing the problem, I guess I should say, by bringing the Town Hall 8s back. And I think that you're going to see some people that just can't hang in the Goodfellas, and that's, obviously I've got lots of Goodfellas that listen to this YouTube video, and that's not meant to be scary in any way, shape, or form. But I think that as you all of a sudden get every single war is a tough war, or an anti-3 war, or a modding clan, and all the bases start taking 10, 15, 25 minutes to kind of break down, and you start spending 3-4 hours on the game as opposed to 10, 15 minutes. I think it will start to weigh on people, and I think people will get burned out. And so I imagine that some Goodfellas that are in our clan right now will kind of move on from the game and move over to Clash Royale. And I think that we'll obviously get some brand new recruits in, and we'll just kind of keep doing what we're doing. I know that it's our goal right now to kind of make everyone in Maine kind of have at least 2020 heroes. So I certainly think that we're going to get to that by the end of this month. And I think we'll probably have 3 or 4 more Town Hall 10s within the next 6 months. So we should be able to run kind of 8 Town Hall 10s and 22 Town Hall 9s would at least be my goal. So really, really long answer to your question. Thank you, Doc King, for submitting it. Let's move on to the next question, a little bit more of a lighthearted one. Pico asked, if you could have dinner with 2 people, living or dead, who would they be and what would you ask them? So great question. So one of them instantly was my grandmother. She passed away when I was in 11th grade. My grandmother played a very large role in my life, a lot bigger than a lot of individuals' grandmothers do. My grandmother lived with my mother and father from the time that I was born, basically. And we did a lot together, and I was kind of the firstborn of my 2 brothers. So I kind of got a lot of the favoritism and got to hang out with my grandma one-on-one. And so I would definitely kind of catch up with her in some way, shape, or form. And then another person that I would ask, or another person that I would have dinner with would be Jeff Probst. He is the host of Survivor. It is without a question my favorite game show, the one that I would love to be on the most. And I just view the game itself as being so complex. I know a lot of people, because it has been on for 32 seasons, they're kind of over it. But I love it every season. I think about the game quite a lot, how I would play if I was on the game, certain strategies that kind of people take while they play it. It's just a tremendous, tremendous show. I love it, and I would definitely get a chance, or love to get a chance to kind of get down and kind of just pick his brain about, either particular seasons or particular players or particular lines of play that people took when they were doing it. So that would be my answer to those questions. My grandmother and Jeff Probst. And coincidentally, the reason why I started watching Survivor was because my grandmother kind of got into it, and it was something that her and I did every Thursday night when I was growing up. So it would actually be a very interesting dinner. Let's see. The next question comes from Son of Jay. He asked, "Is it more fun for you to have less responsibility in an elite level clan, or I have trouble reading my chicken scratch of handwriting, or to simply lead a slightly lower level clan such as the Goodfellas?" So just going back to my time in Emphatic Elite and WHF versus my time in the Goodfellas, I definitely think in terms of it being more fun, I would definitely say not having the responsibility that I have in the Goodfellas is certainly an advantage that I had in Emphatic and WHF. And it's more or less not so much about being the leader, but more so being the person that has to have the tough conversations, having to reach out to players and just say, hey, like this isn't working, or you're not getting your attacks in on time. And it's really, really hard, especially when people always have kind of an answer for why. So you reach out to someone and say, hey, like you didn't get your attacks in, and they say like, oh, like I got called into work and I really, really wanted to, like I had my army cooked and I just lost track of time. It's really, really hard to just kind of like look at someone and say like, hey, like I understand, but it's been a pattern, and we've decided to let you go. And then because a lot of it kind of comes back at me, which is tough to be in that position. And I don't envy Powerbang having to do it for WHF, or Maddie having to do it for Emphatic Elite. It is definitely a very, very tough role. I obviously do like the fact that I have all of my accounts now housed in the Goodfellas clan family, just because that also just takes a lot of pressure off of me, just in terms of trying to coordinate war days and getting my attacks in on 3 accounts. So that's been really good. But in terms of being more fun, I definitely view my own personality as just a little different too. So whereas with the Goodfellas, I kind of I'm someone who says like, hey, like you broke this rule that's in our rule book, I have to sit you for a war. That's not my responsibility in these other clans that I'm a part of. And so that's a huge weight kind of off of my shoulders, and so even like when you ask like former WHF or Emphatic members, like, hey, like what is your memory of Kevin? I think they would give you a much more like think of Pico in our clan, right? Like I was the Pico in other clans. I was the guy that kind of was like, okay, well, DLS is running this in Emphatic Fury, or Powerbank can deal with that issue in WHF. And I was just kind of like the cool guy that was just kind of there make funny jokes every now and again, poke fun at somebody, give everyone a laugh. But I didn't have to actually hand down the discipline. So that aspect is just a lot easier for sure. So I'm going to wrap up with two of Liquid's questions. One of his questions is, what does your girlfriend think about you playing so much Clash of Clans? So this is something that she's kind of developed an understanding for over time. When I first started playing it, it was definitely like a shock to her system. I've always been a really, really competitive person and a gamer, but my girlfriend did not get introduced to that side of me for the first 9 months of our dating. So I met my girlfriend in August of 2013, and at that time I was transitioning from life in Virginia to life in Ohio. I moved to Ohio to get a PhD, and I just didn't have that gaming social circle yet. So whereas when I was living in Virginia that summer, I played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I was going to a lot of events. By the time I got to Ohio, I really didn't have that. I didn't have any friends because I had just moved to a new city. I had two roommates who I really didn't know all that well. I had a couple of colleagues who obviously I got close with very, very quick. But in terms of that like really competitive side, I wasn't going to Magic the Gathering tournaments. I wasn't playing video games. I was pretty much focused on being a first-year doctoral student. So she didn't really get to see that, and she started to get a little bit of a wind of it actually when she was actually a Candy Crush player. She couldn't beat a level at one point in time, and I kind of just said, "Oh, like let me try it. I'll see if I can beat it for you." And I took it, and I kind of got hooked on Candy Crush for a few months there, and so I got to the point where I was scheduling like, okay, like I can play for 10 minutes, and then I can come back 2.5 hours later and play for another 10 minutes once I get my lives back. And she started to see just the way that I kind of coordinate kind of maximizing my lives in a particular game. And so I think she got a little bit of a whiff of it there. And then a few months after that is when I picked up Clash of Clans, and she definitely got to see he spends, 2 to 3 hours a night playing this game. At least early on, I was spending 2 to 3 hours a night playing this game, and kind of where does that fit for our life together? My girlfriend and I moved into a place together a year after we met. And so it was definitely a little bit of a tough transition. Now we kind of have um, a better understanding of kind of how it works. So I've kind of made sacrifices just in terms of when we both get home from a work day. I don't kind of whip out the phone in front of her and start playing. Usually we'll kind of wait until she goes to bed, usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then I'll kind of finish up some emails or finish up grading some papers, and then I will go ahead and jump on TeamSpeak maybe around like 10:30, 11, and play for like an hour and a half before I jump off. But for a while there, it was definitely a little awkward, especially when I kind of first took over the Goodfellas. There'd be times where we'd be out on date night, and I was like, "Baby, like I have to start the war. Like I'm the person that does this kind of stuff." And more or less, not to say that other co-leaders can't start the war, but there's a lot of kind of logistics that goes into what happens when I go to start war and there's 23 people. What two people can I add? Do I have a Cam Sizzle account in this war? What if I have 22 people? What two people do I cut? Do I cut the same mini that I cut last war? And so just like some of the little stuff like that can kind of get a little tricky. And so I just kind of take it upon myself to try and make it fair by being the person that always starts it. And so that's something that now, if I know that I'm going to be out with a girlfriend, I'll kind of reach out in leadership chat and say like, "Hey, I'm going to be out in 8 hours when war starts. Can one of you guys start it? Right now we've got 24 people in. If that's the case, put this person in, etc." So that's kind of helped quite a bit. But yeah, it's tough for sure to have a girlfriend that you live with and kind of balance your life around that for sure. And the same thing goes for a career as well. All right, last question. Still from Liquid, kind of along the same lines. When you started playing Clash of Clans, did you ever think that you'd play for as long and for as hard as you do now? No, is the short answer to the question. Um, I've never. I was always a really big trading card gamer for such a long time. I mean, I played video games growing up, but once I found trading card games, I really kind of abandoned all things video game. And that's basically what Clash of Clans was a video game to me when I first kind of picked it up, and I just didn't think that it would hold my interest. It didn't have any kind of reward, like a monetary reward for getting really really good at the game. There were no kind of tournaments, so to speak. So I thought it was just going to be something that I would do to kind of pass the time for a little bit. And so lots of times in my early Clash of Clans career, I thought to myself like, oh, like, well, maybe I'll just be a career X. Maybe I'll just get to Town Hall 7, max it out, and then I'll just be kind of a dragon expert at Town Hall 7 for a while. But then kind of your natural kind of competitive instincts kick in, and you realize that you just can't play the game at such a low level. And so it definitely kind of caught me by surprise for sure. I think obviously ascending to leadership in Goodfellas played a huge role in that for sure. I know for a while I joined the Goodfellas in September of 2014, I believe, and by the time January of 2015 rolled around, I was kind of on my way out of the clan. I didn't really like the direction. I didn't think it had enough of a serious kind of spark to it, and so I feel like I would have been someone who would have walked away from the game if I had gone to 2 or 3 more clans and kind of realized, like, you know what, people just don't play this game at the absolute highest level that I would want to play it at. But kind of taking over the clan, kind of building kind of ground rules and organization and how we're going to structure war was just such a huge piece to kind of what I really enjoyed doing. And so that part really kind of kept me in the game, I guess, so to speak. And yeah. And so those are the 6 questions that were submitted. Thank you so much to the co-leaders that submitted those questions. Hopefully you get all of my subscribers kind of learned a little bit more about me and who I am and kind of how I play the game. And so we're just going to kind of end this video after we watch this attack by Grazi, a newer Goodfellas member, as he does kind of an AQ walk go Vaho here on this base against the Linders BR War. And just wanted to say once again, thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Definitely 100 subscribers is kind of like the first benchmark, the first indication, like, hey, like you should keep doing some of this stuff. In terms of my other kind of goals for the channel, I hope to kind of create videos that in some way kind of elicit comments in the comment section. I definitely, sometimes I'll put out videos and they don't receive a lot of comments, and I put that more on me. Like, oh, maybe I can make sure to address the viewers in the video and say, like, hey, like, tell me what your thoughts are down in the comment section and kind of engage with people that are watching from outside of the Goodfellas clan family. I think that would be super cool to start knowing a little bit more about you guys and kind of where you guys all come from and what kind of clans you're in. I think that would be definitely a big next step to the channel. In terms of a next subscriber special, it'll probably be around 500. Maybe I'll do something special for that video as well. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the attacks that were in the background. Wish me luck in terms of seeing if I can get these 6 questions to get cropped into the video. That's all for this video. Catch you guys next time.